Good afternoon from Delbarton School, where the road to a state championship continues today, with a quarterfinal matchup that feels far more dangerous than the seeds might suggest. Welcome to the 2026 New Jersey Non-Public State Tournament quarterfinals, brought to you on the Green Wave Sports Network. I'm Ben DeVoe alongside Connor Glory. And Connor, for both of these programs, today's game is about proving exactly who they are when the stakes are at the highest.
Yeah, Ben, I'm really excited for this one. Pingry has done it in the high-stakes moments. They've won big, and Delbarton is a little bit shaky in those moments. So in a game like this, we'll see which team comes and brings their A game.
Yeah, and for the second-seeded Delbarton Green Wave, the story of 2026 has been one of immense potential, flashes of brilliance, and a search for consistency. Matt Kovacek's group opened the season looking every bit like a national contender, piling up statement wins and proving they could compete with some of the best programs in the country. But as the season wore on, inconsistency became the storyline, with a handful of tough losses preventing the Green Wave from fully capitalizing on their talent. The good news for Delbarton is that many of those defeats came by just a goal or two, showing that they can win in the margins, and it's been frustration in those tight games. Last week, however, the Green Wave looked like themselves again, overwhelming Paul VI 15-0 and carrying renewed momentum into today's quarterfinal. The challenge now is maintaining that level. Standing across the field is perhaps the most dangerous double-digit seed entering this bracket. The 10th-seeded Pingry Big Blue arrive at 16-3 under legendary coach Mike Webster, whose resume spans more than 3 decades. Multiple state championships, Hall of Fame inductions, and countless elite players developing throughout New Jersey lacrosse. And while Pingry may lack Delbarton's national profile, they've built a reputation in the state this spring for finding ways to win close games. Not to mention their 5 wins and 5 overtime appearances. And Connor, one area may determine whether Pingry can pull off the upset today: possession.
Yeah, Ben, and in the game against Paul VI, Delbarton went 6 for 6 for Jesse Denegri and Kane Quinault in faceoffs, and that will be a huge test for Pingry today, winning faceoffs. Pingry has a pretty solid faceoff squad, but if they're going to win this game, their key is definitely to win faceoffs.
And looking at Delbarton's tournament history, round 1 they earned the bye as the 2 seed, and in round 2 they won 15-0, as I just mentioned, over Paul VI. Chase Hauser led the scoring with a hat trick, Brandon Fodor with 2 assists, and Jesse Denegri and Kane Quinault were both perfect, as you mentioned, at the face-off.
Yeah, Ben, and Pingry's tournament have been pretty similar, with a 19-2 win over Wilberforce in the first round. Cliff Field was the star of that game with 5 goals and 2 assists, and now leading up to the 6-5 game against Bergen Catholic, that was all the news last week, as 6-5 overtime win with Colin Blicky and Alex Fickenstein, both with 2 goals and 3 points.
Yeah, and for Delbarton, I want to look at their Fogos. They sure do have the talent, one of the most talented face-off groups in the country, but it's been a rocky season for them with some highs and lows. Again, they're one of the most talented groups in the nation, and they were able to dominate last week in their opening playoff game, so we'll see how they perform today.
Yeah, Ben, and for Pingry, it's really just scoring points. You know, they got the 3 key players, all young players, 1 junior and 2 sophomores, Cliff Field, Alex Finkelstein, and Colin Blecky, all around 60 to 50 points. Out of all the games they played, Pingry has been, a little bit all over the place with scoring. In 12 games, they've had fewer than 10, while in 7 games, they've exceeded 10. Like I said, young star players, so just getting points on the board against this tough Delbarton defense is going to be a key for the game.
And this team does like to take their time, Connor, and looking at the breakdown for grades, there are leading 8 freshmen on this Pingry team, and it's a small team. You got 7 sophomores, 5 juniors, and then 7 seniors. So we saw a young team in Paul VI that Delbarton was able to beat up on, but this is a new task, and there is some more senior leadership with those 7 seniors.
Yeah, Ben, and similar to Paul VI, the young guys really have showed some, contributing factors, but like, for example, Cliff Field has really, showed out this season so far. Number 9 for Pingry, the sophomore, has really scored a lot of great goals for them. So last week we saw the young guys, the freshmen, being stopped by Delbarton's stifling defense. Let's see if Field can get some goals for the Big Blue and get the offense rolling.
Yeah, and you hinted towards those 3 key players for Pingry, and the first one's going to be Colin Blakicki, who leads the team in points with 60. He has 26 goals and 34 assists on the year. The sophomore Cliff Field, as you were just talking about, he's second in that points category with 52. He leads the team in goals with 36 and has 16 assists. And then finally, it's his fellow sophomore, Alex Finkelstein, who has 33 goals, 12 assists, and 45 points on the season.
Yeah, Ben, and it's the same key players we've had all year for the Green Wave. Chase Hauser, the senior, the high point commit, 48 goals, 31 assists, 79 points this season. But not to be outdone, junior and John Hopkins commit, Brandon Fodor with 83 points. The leading point scorer for Delbarton this year with 44 assists and 39 goals is going to be a huge factor in the middle. And then senior Pierce Bolger, one of my favorite guys to watch. That lefty shot is outstanding. 40 goals this season with 45 points. Those three have been the dynamic trio all year, and Delbarton's key to win the game.
Yeah, I completely agree. And they also are deep. I mean, you look at Good, you look at Sheridan, two guys who are very quick and are able to make an impact whenever they get the ball. So Delbarton's really dangerous on the offensive side of the ball. Now let's look at the Big Blue. First off, it's going to be winning the ground ball battle. Last year against Delbarton, Pingry lost the ground ball battle 27-16, and it showed in the final score. Controlling loose balls, limits Delbarton's possessions, and offsets what figures to be a tough face-off disadvantage. Next up, it's surviving the face-off disadvantage. Delbarton's face-off group is one of the best in the nation, and Pingry comes in below 70% on the season. That's a real problem, Connor. The key isn't necessarily winning the face-offs, it's minimizing the damage. Hustle to every ground ball off the draw, limit quick transition opportunities, and make sure every Delbarton possession is a grind rather than a free ride.
Yeah, Ben, and for this Delbarton team, it's just doing what you guys need to do, winning face-offs. You know, we've had a rocky year so far with the face-off group, but, you know, they're very talented. They can win games. Well, consistent passing aggressiveness will also be huge for them, as Delbarton is experienced. They know how to play these playoff games. Pingry, we talked about, as a young team, staying aggressive and winning and controlling the ball will help Delbarton control this game and dominate a young team.
And one last thing to think about. Get production from all three stars for Pingry. Plakicki, Field, and Finkelstein combining for 157 points on the year is impressive. But what stands out is how they've shown up in big moments. Clutch goals against Bergen Catholic and timely assists when it mattered most. Against the veteran Delbarton defense, Pingry needs all three to be firm today.
Yeah, Ben, and both teams will be tuning in to the state quarterfinal round with Don Bosco and Gil St. Bernard. The winner will take on the winner of this game. I'm very excited to see that matchup next week.
Yeah, and that will be big. That's actually this Friday, Connor, and then the final is on the following Tuesday. So it's going to be a quick turnaround for both of these teams if they are able to win. But that's the big question. The stage is set. A perennial powerhouse searching for its best lacrosse at exactly the right time. A dangerous young challenger with nothing to lose. And a trip to the non-public state semifinals on the line. Delbarton and Pingry, quarterfinal lacrosse from Morristown, coming your way next. Welcome back to our coverage of this quarterfinal round matchup between the Green Wave and the Big Blue. We're ready to get this one underway, Connor. And it's Kane Quinault in for the Green Wave at the midfield stripe. And he wins his first of the day, and he'll go down the other way.
Yeah, Ben, the Notre Dame commit's been a stalwart for Delbarton so far. He's 75%. He's taken the most faceoffs for the Green Wave. He's really been great all year.
And it's Brandon Fodor getting the start at attack today, usually at the midfield position, but Delbarton switching it up with the matchup.
And that's great to see. He's got such a great shot. I really just want him to shoot it more, and it's at the attacking position. He has all free range.
And Hauser will send behind the net. Now it's Matt Good with it. And Trzynski will send to Sheridan. And a lot of these guys, Connor, just graduated a few days ago on Sunday. So playing like this is their last time wearing maybe anything Delbarton while going to the school.
Yeah, Ben, this tournament's definitely got to be sentimental for the seniors.
And that one runs in on Trzynski. He's able to pick up the ground ball. And replacing him up top is Chase Hauser. And I think that's the switch that Delbarton made. Hauser and Fodor swapping positions, at least for this opening possession.
Yeah, Ben, and Hauser's such a senior leader. He can definitely command the midfield, kind of like how Sheridan does when he plays. So I like the switch.
And Sheridan's the one passing to Hauser here. He'll shoot, and it goes wide. Good back there, so Delbarton maintains possession. Almost a minute 30 into this first quarter.
And Ben, they're doing the Pingry strategy, kind of how Pingry likes to play. They're slowing it down. They're making good passes. One of our keys to the game. I think it's a very smart idea and well coached by Kovacek.
Fodor passes. Hauser will shoot, and he scores. Delbarton up 1-0 to start this game off.
And Ben, the switch we talked about, Hauser to Fodor. How about an assist from Fodor to Hauser? The 2-point leaders for Delbarton, each getting a point there, and that's just beautiful Delbarton offense right there.
Chase Hauser scoring his 49th goal of the season.
And Ben, beautiful pass from Fodor. I believe that's his 45th assist on the year. I mean, it's just those two are dynamic.
8 and 9.
The High Point and John Hopkins commit, both doing great things out there for Delbarton.
And it's another face-off win for Quinault.
And
2 for 2 to start the day.
And Ben, another key to our game was face-offs, and Quinault being that stalwart, he has been great so far. 2 for 2. The Notre Dame commit has been excellent. And speaking of all these commits, we talked to the Lehigh coach, recruiter that's here today. This is a high-profile game for a lot of people.
That one inside, pass a little low, and this is something I'm really interested in, Connor. I mean, Pingry's taking possessions all the way up to 4 minutes. As they lose this one here, Fodor's with it, driving towards the net, and he puts it in.
And Ben, for Pingry to pull off the upset here, you can't have costly mistakes like that. We saw the same thing happen with Paul VI earlier when we covered that game. Paul VI struggled in the beginning of the game, clearing the ball, and Delbarton did a great job capitalizing on it and scoring goals. Delbarton's offense does a great job at not making the clear easy, and right there we see defense turning into offense. Great play.
And Quinault right back out there for his third face-off in the opening 3 minutes. And it's going to be the same opponent and Teddy Peacock, who is 0 for 2 in those first 2. Shoveling for this one, still loose. And Brendan Summers, the guy to pick up the ground ball to keep Quinault perfect on the day. And Delbarton with their third straight possession. Core will pass up top, grabbed by Melchione. And Delbarton is in the danger zone.
Great hustle there by Summers. And we talked about this, in the booth before we went on. But Philip Minardo, 7 for 7 last year, 100% face-off win rate. And that was a big contributing factor for Delbarton's 9-7 victory. So I think, face-offs are going to be huge. It's always something that I look for in a stat to decide, the score of the game.
Yeah, and like Minardo, Jesse DeNegri, a similar type of Fogo. So we'll see, once he gets his first opportunity of today, how he can play. And that one's picked up by Cummings. Took him a little bit.
And, Ben, we talk about the experience of Delbarton, but you see there Max Holda in the game. And we talk about, the sophomores here. Jack Rendy also scored 2 goals in our game against Paul VI. And the young guns have been pretty solid for Delbarton, too.
Fodor slipping through. And he scores his second goal of the game. Fodor with 3 points. It makes Delbarton's lead 3.
And Ben, Fodor and Hauser making Coach Kovacek look like a genius here, as they are both playing remarkable games so far. And Fodor is just, I've been looking for it. He dodges so well. He's so smooth. He's got a great shot, and it's great to see him shooting more shots and getting some more goals to his tally.
100%. And we'll see if Quinault can keep that same number here. And they sure are setting him out pretty early before these face-offs. Delbarton trying to ride that momentum as quick as they can.
Yeah, Ben, big thing in this Delbarton season we've seen is a lot of streaks, in games. They keep riding the streaks. They don't change much if it's going right, so.
And we're going to have a whistle on Quinault. And it will be Pingry's first possession of the day. And like I was saying earlier, before they got on their first possession, or were about to, and had a turnover, they've taken possessions all the way up to 4 minutes. Like, these guys are definitely, when they were deciding when the state was deciding if they were going to add a shot clock, I definitely think Pingry was against that rule, because they love to take their time.
Yeah, Ben, an experienced coach like Coach Webster definitely knows how to, find the best shots. You taking your time is always a great idea, as I believe that's Delbarton. Nope, they're going to say it's off-course stick, but great defense there by the senior leader.
Yeah, and head coach Mike Webster. He's been the coach since 1989, over 35 years coaching Pingry lacrosse, and he's led teams to numerous conference championships, county championships, state championships, and New Jersey Sportsman Awards. So this guy, and I could keep going on and on about how talented, the records that this guy has produced, but he definitely has it in him, and that's the leadership you need when you want a deep run in the playoffs.
Yeah, Ben, a little chippy over there. It seems like Braden Garcia got caught up there, and it will be him in the box. The defensive midi there just tripped up one of Pingry's players, and flag was thrown, and now Pingry's man up.
Yep, 30 seconds for Pingry. We'll see if they can capitalize here.
And Ben, I think this is another, struggling aspect of being a slow team, is when they get the man up, their offense is really about methodical playing, and as we see there, a little bit rushed and a turnover.
And Matty McGinty running out of his net with caution. Definitely a good sign for Delbarton, because he's had some careless plays, to say the least, throughout the season. But that's definitely a good sign, being more careful when he's going to make those intelligent plays.
Yeah, Ben, being a first-time starter in high school, it's always tough. He's really a great player. He's just, feeling out the game. And now I feel like right now, if he could play his best lacrosse, it would be really great for the whole entire team.
And this is when it matters most. Good acted like he had it, but Hauser held on to it. Now Fodor's with it. He's back at that midfield position, and Hauser stays up there as well. So 2 attackmen for the Green Wave down low, and one of them is good. The other, Bolger, who's moving in front of the net.
Yeah, Ben, and Bolger's always great in front of that net spot. He's a big body, does a great job boxing out, and he obviously has that beautiful left-hand shot.
Hauser dodging left towards the net and pushed around, and there's the flag. Contact with the head, it seemed. Sheridan moving right. Now he backs off. Regarded as the fastest guy in the team, spins, shoots, and it's blocked in front. And we're going to have a whistle, another flag. So 2 flags now, and we'll see what the calls will be.
Yeah, Ben, it's a physical game already. It's Pingry's defense is definitely not backing down, but it looks like a little head contact on Hauser earlier that we missed. Sheridan obviously ripped a good shot there, a little scuffle in the middle, but now I believe Delbarton will be man up.
And just over that 6-minute mark here in the first quarter, Delbarton up 3-0 if you're just tuning in. And we'll have it says 2 minutes up on the board right now. It's going to be a 30-second penalty on Anthony Truncale. And we'll see if Delbarton can capitalize on their first man advantage. They were able to shut down Pingry's just a few minutes ago.
Yeah, Ben, and talking about the best lacrosse around this time, senior leader on the 2023 championship team, Nick Falcone. I saw him walk in, the game winner in overtime against Seton Hall Prep. We all remember that one. That one was a huge one. So hopefully this Delbarton team could replicate that one this year.
Yeah, and here's a guy who really lived one of the moments that a lot of Delbarton players dream of.
Yeah, Ben, it was definitely one of our bigger moments against our rival state championship, and you live for moments like those.
Truly. Now Trzynski's with it. Bolger looking for a pass. Finds Hauser inside. Sheridan dumps it in. Delbarton up 4-0 to start this one.
And that was beautiful. Great placement by Hauser. Playing that midfield position. We said, it was a great switch. He's the senior leader. Great pass there, Sheridan. It's a good job with his stick. And, we're talking about, the midfielders and how they're passing the ball around. And I want to go back to Trzynski because we talk about how, how great Quinault has been as faceoffs. But Trzynski's really taking a big step, switching from, the main faceoff guy to now a midfielder. And he's really taking that position really well. And he's played, some pretty good lacrosse for the Green Wave.
He definitely has. And now we're going to take a look at the midfield stripe. Jesse Denegri getting his first faceoff of the day. We'll see how he does here. Sends it back. Had his stick held, and it's originally picked up there by Michael Giordano, who's still down. There's a flag, and Delbarton's going to be forced to call a timeout. Giordano got leveled there. Delbarton will go on the man advantage, and Giordano able to jog off the field. That was a big hit, Connor.
Yeah, Ben. Pingry's definitely not, holding back on the physicality. It's kind of got them in trouble a little bit. A couple of penalties so far. But they're definitely coming to play. This definitely means something to them. But, just kind of maybe more controlled aggression for the Big Blue.
Definitely. It's going to be a penalty on Kieran Harris.
And Ben, that one will be a 2-minute penalty. Definitely costly for the Big Blue there.
And they're going to cut it to 1 here. Looked like the referee came over and spoke with the scorers table with wrestling head coach for the Green Wave, Brian Stoll, who controls the scoreboard. But it'll be Delbarton possession. Brandon Fodor will start with it for the Green Wave.
Yeah, Ben, and I don't know who's in charge of giving out the scoreboard job, but they should really rethink who they're giving the scoreboard control to.
Trzynski looking for a pass. He finds Hauser, who will send closer to the net. Sheridan playing that attack position right now. Another fake handoff, and Sheridan scores again. He really likes it on the doorstep. Delbarton up 5-0 now.
And then that's been beautiful all day. Sheridan, really, we haven't seen him really close to the goal. He's usually midfield. You said the fastest guy on the team. He's always dodging, but he's been really great today up on the doorstep. It seems like Delbarton's moving their team around. And that little fake pass, you talked about it earlier when good fake with the ball, and did it again. And wow, Pingry's whole defense was faked out there.
Yeah, and head coach Mike Webster is going to call a timeout for Pingry. Delbarton getting amped up, leading 5-0 with just under 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. We'll be back. Welcome back. Delbarton still on the man advantage because of the unreleasable penalty, but it will be Pingry's ball as Denegri loses his first faceoff of the day. So with the way Pingry plays their offense, Connor, it's likely that they will kill this penalty. With a pass like that, it could get dangerous, but it's picked up there by Gavin York, and he'll sprint all the way behind the net and then turn around.
Yeah, Ben, and we saw earlier when they got a penalty on Delbarton, they rushed it a little bit, and we saw the mistakes, peek their ugly heads. So I think they're going to play it slow, kill this penalty. They have no reason to rush, and I think that, as the penalty is officially killed, I think they are going to, play their offense. You said, it takes about 3 to 4 minutes for them to find a good shot. So that's how they play their game, and it works out for them. So
we'll see. This Delbarton defense can get aggressive, and they've got some talented D-pulls. So we'll see how that affects Pingry's strategy. Spilicki with it.
And Ben, Delbarton already has matched the goal total that Bergen Catholic had on Pingry the whole entire game in the quarterfinal matchup. In the round of 16 matchup, excuse me. So their offense has definitely bombarded the Big Blues defense so far.
Definitely is. Finkelstein will try to make something get going on offense. That shot went off the post. And it's Delbarton with another defensive stand.
An extremely smart playing here between Derek Hoare and Matty McGinty, knowing where the ball was in front of the goal, not making a mistake, not rushing it. And now we got a good offensive possession here for Delbarton.
And Fodor running some of the fastest I've seen throughout this season to get Delbarton across the midway line. Matt Good passes to Sheridan. And up top it's Hauser. Right back to Sheridan. And they'll play catch. Sheridan dodges left. Behind the net, it's Good. Hauser thought about ripping it, but now we'll send right back to Good. Trying to battle his way in front of the net, but Fodor, with a great move left, and a shot just wide.
But Ben, that was beautiful, and you're talking about how fast Fodor was running on that clear. I would pay to see a race between him and Sheridan, because I don't know, I think that Fodor might be the faster guy. But great shot there, great dodge. He's so good with both sides of the stick, and it's just incredible.
Hauser passes. It's Good with it. Now Hauser will send all the way up top to Fodor. With a nice move to the right. Gets by one. He shoots it, and it's again wide.
But, Ben, this is a different type of Fodor we've seen than, the whole entire season, where he's obviously been a goal scorer. He's obviously been in great points, but he hasn't been shooting the ball at this volume, and it's really great to see.
It definitely is, Connor. And with a guy who does not take too many shots, or at least wasn't, definitely amped it up a bit, but definitely has not been afraid to shoot today.
Yeah, Ben, and the 3 points in the box score for him have shown that it's really not, unjustified.
Yeah, and Sheridan was trying to get his third there, but that shot goes wide. Good, guarded by Albert. Used the screen from Sheridan. Thought about passing to him, but now he'll regroup.
And Ben, with a minute left in this first quarter, it seems like Delbarton has kind of flipped the script on Pingry, where they are the one controlling the ball, and Pingry seems to be rushing, making mistakes, and not really having enough time to have the ball in their offense.
I think that is, Connor, the 4 face-off wins on the 6 in this first quarter. If you're able to win the face-offs, you're able to control the tempo of this game, and resultantly for the Green Wave, they're up 5. And it looks like Delbarton will hold on to this to take the last shot of the quarter. Hauser has it behind the net. All 5 of the Delbarton other players on offense right now, all within the 15-yard mark of the net. Now they'll spread out. Trzynski shoots! Bingo!
And that was beautiful. Like you said, all 5 staying back, around the 15-yard line. 20-ish, 25. They step in there. Trzynski takes a good step in, takes the shot. He rips it. It was a beautiful play there. And again, Hauser, his 3rd point of the day, and his 2 assists, only 1 goal. The primary goal scorer, him and Fodor flipping positions a little bit here as they did actually. And Hauser's really being the offensive, maker as, providing more assists.
Yeah, this has been quite the first quarter for the Green Wave. Pingry has just been shut down throughout these first 12 minutes. Denegri picks it up with 7 seconds left. And Giordano back out there as the ball will bounce loose. And that will do it for the first quarter. Delbarton up 6-0 on Pingry. We'll be back with the second quarter. Welcome back. Delbarton up 6-0 after a dominant first quarter. We'll see if anything changes in this second. Definitely brighter on the field right now, Connor, as Quinault wins another faceoff. He'll send it back to McGinty. Maybe a little play drawn up by Coach Kovacek during the break, as Core will take it up, who scored a goal just a few games ago. I think it was against Chaminade.
Yeah,
or Fairfield Prep, excuse me.
That definitely seemed to be choreographed. It was it's interesting to see. It kind of looked like a scene out of a movie where it was just so perfect. But now we're back on offense. I believe Delbarton's going to keep it slow this quarter, similar to what we saw in Paula's 6th game, where they slowed it down the rest of the game after a strong first quarter.
Bolger will pass to Hoda, and now up top, it's Jack McGinn. The two sophomores out for the Green Wave right now. Hauser trying to beat his way inside. He'll have to pass out to Cummings. And now with it on the far side is McGinn. Holda passing with Hauser, who dodges right. And now he'll pass. Behind the net, good. Stopped, made a little move over the head. And now up top, it's McGinn. Holda going right. Bolger with it now. Delbarton working the passing game right now, almost 2 minutes in to the second quarter. And Connor, this is kind of what we saw after the first quarter. Delbarton was up 9-0 against Paul the 6th, and they just took their time on their possessions, just passed a ton, and then finally found an open look, and they just couldn't pass up on that opportunity.
Yeah, Ben, and I think Coach Kovacek's probably told them a similar thing. It's like, there's no way.
Whoa! And Max Holda, a beautiful spin, and buries it in the back of the net. And that was a sweet move.
Yeah, Ben, you see the cameraman over there. That's definitely good to see that one on the on Instagram tonight. That was beautiful. Hit a little 360. And as we said, they're going to play it slow. Fireworks from Holder there, the sophomore. And like I said earlier, those sophomores, there's about 8 or 9 that are on varsity for Delbarton. They have really been, pretty a spark plug for the Green Wave at times. McGinn, Holda scoring in the biggest moments.
And it just seems, as you look at the younger groups progressing into this high school stage of their lacrosse career, they kind of look a little bit more talented or maybe a little bit more fancy with the way that they play. And in moments like that, it really pays off.
Yeah, Ben, they're definitely not scared of the big moment. They're not that scared of the big time, and it's really showing.
Ball still loose, and finally picked up by Pingry, and now loose again and picked up by Quinault. I don't really know how they would score that one. You think Pingry picked it up, had real possession?
I don't know, Ben. It was it looked like Malchione just barely missed the ground ball, scooped there, and looked like Pingry had it, and they lost it. It was too quick for my eyes to even comprehend.
And that one loose and picked up by Good, who will flee the scene and now pass to Hauser.
And Ben, quick shots like that, they're lucky to get the ball back. I don't think they want to lose possession that quick, especially on shots that they could have waited and took later in the possession. But they got the ball back, and I think they're probably going go back to that slow and steady pass it around offense.
And Fodor scores! Make it a hat trick for him on the day.
And Ben, that was from way downtown, and just the talent of this Delbarton midfield group. We talked about how they were a little bit, weak in midfield at the beginning of the year. They took out Tro from face off the midfield. But really, they've really showed up. The young guys, the sophomores, and Fodor obviously being the stalwart for that midfield group. It's just really they've shown their talent as the year has progressed. And now 8-0, Coach Webster is a legendary coach, but you think, what does he got to tell his guys to, try to get them to get going?
Yeah, for me, I'm telling them, listen, you gotta think before you act. I feel like they're going a little too quick for the way that they've been playing, and sure, they need to win more face-offs. I don't know if that's a change you make, as now Peacock is 3 for 9 on the day, and after Pingry got possession there, they're going to call a timeout. And again, right, like you were asking me, Connor, I think you just got to tell them, slow down. You've done it all year. You're 16-3. You got to be doing something right? I think it starts with winning the faceoffs. You just saw your goalie Luke Burns slam his stick on the ground. You really can't have 8 goals allowed on you in this short amount of time. I understand Delbarton's talented, but I mean any team that you're going to play in this state can do that. So I think you got to tell your goalie, slow down. You got to tell your players to slow down. And when an opportunity arises, just be on your toes, be ready to grab it.
Yeah, Ben, and I feel like we haven't seen Cliff Field, Colin, Bilecki, or Finkelstein really make a big play. I think we talked about Finkelstein taking a couple shots, but they weren't really on target. I haven't really seen Field that much. Yeah, you know, you got to think, you got to get the ball to your best players. You think you got to get Finkelstein, Field involved to, you know, generate some offense.
Yeah, definitely, Connor. And you look at this roster here, right? And it's really been Gavin York who I've seen the most on offense. But again, I haven't even seen much of him. The one guy I would love to step up for Pingry is Eli Ziv, the guy who scored the overtime winner against Bergen Catholic in the last round. If you can get something going in the playoffs, you can be unstoppable. Whether you're a third string guy, second string guy, I mean, obviously the starters can do it, but I think you look at the depth, people can go on some miracle runs, and that would be great for Pingry and Ziv.
Yeah, Ben, Ziv's no scrub. He has 34 points this year. He's been pretty solid for the Big Blue as we return to action here. Definitely, if you get hot in the playoffs, it's a good idea to ride his coattails.
So right now with it is Blakicki. He's guarded by Baker. And he made a real nice move to get by Carter. Has him chasing him now. Blakicki passes. Taken there by Ziv. And now take it behind the net. Up top, it's York. Guarded by Garcia. Pingry with some small bursts here.
Yeah, Ben, that was a really nice move against Carter Baker that Bilecki had. Sorry if I botched that name, but he definitely is a very shifty around the X.
Yeah, it seems like he lost his footing there, and he put his hand inside the crease. That's going to cost Pingry possession. And Tommy Kovacek will start with it, and he'll pass to John Fodor.
And that's unfortunate. It seemed like there was a little burst of energy from the Pingry offense there, and it was just a tiny mistake like that takes, you know, the whole entire possession away. So, unfortunate.
Pierce Bolger has it behind the net. And he works it all the way up 180 degrees from that spot. And we'll have to make the long jog right back down. Bolger gets it back, passes to Sheridan, and he'll send up top to Fodor. Side by side with Trzynski. Look back, Gavin Romweber, who had a hat trick in this matchup last year. And we've seen a little bit of the passes he used to do. That's a great save there by Burns.
Yeah, Ben, that opposite side is so hard, getting your stick around 180 degrees. Great save there. Sheridan, really great shot. And, you know, that could really get the Pingry going a little bit. Just, you know, a little momentum boost, especially struggling on defense. Great save there, but as I say that.
And they're going to call a trip on Trzynski. Slams his stick down, and Pingry will have the man up here.
And unfortunate, pretty good defense where Trzynski just got a little caught up there. Trip. Won't be too long of a penalty, I don't believe. 1 minute.
That's going to be unreleasable. So we'll see. Pingry can get on the board here about halfway through this second quarter. Blakicki passes. It's Ziv with it now. That was Lamb, but right back with Blakicki, and now Lamb sends and back from Finkelstein. Ziv. Blakicki. Lamb thought about shooting it, backs off. And Pingry definitely working the passing game here, Connor.
Yeah, Ben, and you could see Field on the other side of the goal being manned up by Core. He's their primary goal scorer. If they can get him the ball down low, we could probably try to slot it.
Fodor has to return all the way back after being aggressive there on Ziv, and Lamb will pass to Ziv. 25 and 35. But Kiki passes. Lamb, Ziv, Lamb. Here's a turnaround shot saved by McGinty.
Great save there on McGinty. And, we're talking about you kept going back and forth about all the passes. And, on man up, Pingry does a really good job, making good passes and finding the good shot. But McGinty, great save there. And the man up, while executed well by Pingry, Delbarton's defense just does it better.
Cummings has it. Passes to McGinn. And look, McGinty hasn't been tested early, but when he has, he's not let anything through just yet. Holda, who just had a great goal, passes up top to McGinn. And now it's Hauser. McGinn, Holda, and right back to Jack McGinn, the sophomore running this offensive possession. Changing speeds, passes behind the net. Bolger. Movement in front of the net, backs off, passes. Cummings. Good passes right back to Cummings. And now with it is Hauser. Underhand pass to Holda, right back to Hauser. Again behind the net. He's been doing everything this possession for the Green Wave. Passes in front, good, and it's a save by Burns.
Great save by Burns, great offense there. Bolger, great screen. McGinn showing that speed. Great pass there. Unfortunate that Good could not finish, but great offense, just better defense.
And a nice grab there by York to handle the pass on a quick break in front of the net, off the post. So close for Pingry, just no cigar. And we're going to have a timeout, a flag on the play.
Man, I was about to tell you that I just saw Core lay the boom before that shot hit off the post. I believe it was on York, or maybe York was the one who shot it, but the guy who passed it to York definitely got a little shaken up there by Core. Ben, it looks like that one will only be a 30-second penalty for Core, so.
With it is Ziv. He passes. And that pass is blocked out in front, right in front of the net. Could be dangerous. And it's picked up by McGinty. Only played a quarter of Delbarton's first playoff game. We're going to have a timeout by Delbarton with 2:21 to play here in the first half. And Connor, we'll stay right here. Delbarton has been dominant throughout. What do you think has been the main contributor to make that happen?
Yeah, Ben, I think limiting Pingry's opportunities. When Pingry has got shots on goal, they've been close. We obviously saw that one that hit off 2 posts. But it's really just been that we haven't really seen Pingry shoot that much. Seems like, their best players, their best offensive players, it feels like I haven't seen Field shoot a single shot, and he is their highest goal scorer. So Delbarton's defense, Delbarton's offense have worked together very well to keep the ball away from Pingry, and Delbarton's offense just keeps scoring, man. It's just a well-oiled machine. I'm sorry about that. Well-oiled machine. They just, keep pumping out goals. It's really, really impressive.
And then let's look at the other huddle. Pingry, they just broke it, but what do you think he was saying, Coach Webster was saying to his guys?
I think, Pingry's looking a lot better than they were earlier in the game. They're now getting shots on goal. Their defense made a couple of stops that save against Sheridan, that save against Good that we just saw. They're playing a lot better. Obviously, Burns is playing more, inspired, I think, after we saw his frustration on the goal.
Definitely.
So we could see, Pingry, it's looking up for them, but with such big of a deficit, it's got to, change around quick.
Yeah, something's got to give here. Fodor passes to Good. Now Good's going to run left. And in front of the net, it's Trzynski. Under 2 minutes to play here in the opening half of this quarterfinal matchup. Thank you for tuning in on the Green Wave Sports Network. It's definitely been a fun season for Delbarton lacrosse. While it has been a roller coaster, there have been some really hot moments. As that pass goes high, and great team playing there by Bolger. Instead of going for the ball, sets a little pick so Good can come and scoop it up.
And he's a great physical player. We saw the screen. He had him again. He's just a great player.
And he scores right there, Connor.
And Ben,
nowhere better for him to put it in.
And Ben, exactly like you said, nowhere better. I talk about that left-hand shot. I don't think 9 times out of 10 a goalie could save it. I mean, it's just incredible. He finds the perfect angle, and 9-0 for the Green Wave as we're a minute left in this second quarter. It's just really been the perfect game so far.
It really has.
And Ben, 4:16 now. The baseball team has just started playing our rivals.
Yep, Seton Hall Prep, their rival Seton Hall Prep, and a big game because, I think it's been a little while since Delbarton has hosted Seton Hall Prep in a baseball game. We'll leave it at that, but it's definitely a huge game. You see some fans here for Delbarton, but I'm going to take a guess and say that most of them are at that game.
Yeah, the Diamond is definitely filled up with a lot of Green Wave faithful. I talked to some of my friends who said they will be attending. Obviously, Green Wave Sports Network's very own Jared Lowy is also at the game.
Yeah, and we have a fully student-run broadcast today. Lorenzo Scola producing for his first time with us, and it's usually 2 student broadcasters, but the producer's always been Mr. Lowy. But since he has to be at that baseball game, which we were trying to live stream, we weren't able to due to rights, which is disappointing. He's still there covering it for media, so check the Delbarton Athletics Instagram story if you want to get some updates on that, and we'll try to provide some here as well. As Kozik shoots wide.
Yeah, Ben, and Skoll is really like a variable. The guy can just plug and play anywhere. It's an incredible, great member of our broadcast team.
For sure, Connor. He definitely has been able to do any sport we ask him to, and great that we've got him on the technology side as well. In front of the net, Hauser stick got held, but fortunately for Delbarton, the pass is kept in play. Fodor passes to Kozik, and it's right back with Fodor. Thought about shooting, will be forced outside. 13 seconds left. Pass is blocked in front. Kozik gets spun around. 8 seconds. Ball's still loose. Sheridan has it. He'll have to shoot. Inside. Pass goes wide. And that will do it for the first half of play. Connor Delbarton with a dominant performance. 9-0 here. And we'll see what goes on in those halftime talks. Those can always be important depending on how the coaches use them. And we'll also have a halftime talk brought to you by Forum Coffee in about 5 minutes. Welcome to the Forum Coffee Halftime Report. I'm Ben DeVoe alongside Connor Gorey. Connor, it's been a one-sided affair through the first 24 minutes of this contest. Delbarton up 9-0. What have you seen?
Yeah, Ben, it seems like Delbarton just firing on all cylinders. You know, their defense, their offense, their goalie play have all been excellent so far. You know, like you said, they want to peak at the right time. This is the right time. They're playing probably some of the best lacrosse I've seen this year. It's just very smooth. It's very, not patchy. There's not making very many mistakes. It's been played really well so far. And on the side of Pingry, it just seems like when it goes right, something goes wrong, if you know what I'm saying. It just seems like there's a little bit of mistakes that happen, and they really just haven't had the ball. Delbarton's playing such a great game. They're dominating possession. Pingry hasn't had that many chances to operate.
Yeah, definitely, Connor. And for Delbarton, I think besides the goals, one moment that's really stood out to me was the moment Delbarton did slip up. Like that one moment behind the net where the pass missed Bolger, and instead of going straight for the ball, taking a risk of not getting it, he makes the team play, sets a screen, Good comes up, swoops the ball up, and then later that possession they score. That's really different from what we saw earlier on in the season, especially in that game against Seton Hall and maybe the game against Chatham, where they were making those mistakes and not rebounding from it. And here you see how they respond, and whether that's coaching, players talking to each other, whatever it was, it really has worked, and it'll definitely be good to see and interesting to see see throughout the rest of this tournament, or at least the rest of this game. Anything could happen, Connor.
And Ben, Good being, a first-time starter on varsity as a junior, it's good to see, him getting accustomed to the team. I think it's really a chemistry team where you could see they've been playing all year now together.
Who, McGinty?
No, Good and Bolger, where, Good's a first-time starter, even though he's, was around the varsity team last year. They played a full year together. Now you could see that, wavelength there, that communication where Bolger knows that Good can scoop the ball up while he defends that screen. I think that's a great example, Ben.
Yeah, definitely, Connor. We're about to get the second half underway, so we'll stay put.
Yeah, Ben, and speaking of Forum Coffee, it seems that the Green Wave has played a little bit more energized this postseason.
You do like those comparisons. You did it in the last round against Paul VI, but it makes sense, and I like it. And, yeah, look at that. Trzynski is going to face off for the Green Wave to start the second half. Looking back at last year when these two teams played, Trzynski had a 75% face-off win percentage on 6 face-offs taken. As this one's still loose, and it'll finally be picked up by Trzynski, so make him 1-for-1 on the day. Yeah,
Ben, and, Trzynski was always such a great face-off the past couple of years, and the way he can just slide right into that midfield role, it's really been excellent, and is why he's going to play at such a great program like Cornell next year.
And, I think what we're seeing here is instead of Trzynski being on the offensive side, Max Melchione was just out there for part of the offense. Trzynski comes right back out, but I was thinking maybe you just leave Trzynski out there and just attack immediately, set the tone in the second half like you did in the first.
Yeah, Ben, I think that they're definitely not taking this game as lightly as they did against Paul VI, where, they pumped the brakes a little bit. They're definitely wary of Pingry and their ability to, strike fast, so they're still staying offensive, and they're not laying their foot off the gas pedal. And that shot by Hauser goes high and wide. But, yeah, look at the top of the bracket, Connor. I mean, Seton Hall Prep just had an 18-0 win. I mean, Delbarton 15-0, that's dominant. 18-0, that's 3 more goals. So I don't know if Delbarton saw that. I bet some of the players definitely did. But maybe a little message taken there, like we just got to keep going. Yeah, Ben, definitely. We could see, in the Paul VI game, me and you saw, like, during the third quarter that it was just a really slow game. They pumped the brakes a lot there. Kovacek obviously being respectful, but, you like to score goals.
You definitely do. Delbarton taking their time here on this first possession. And like they did in the second quarter, this one reaching almost the 2-minute mark here. Hauser dodging left and right, pass inside, and that might have been a shot. It was swooped up by Burns, and now Pingry will go the other way. And that pass low, not handled, And Core lifts that stick like a hammer, swung it down, and ends up picking up the ground ball.
Yeah, Ben, and a great play by the senior leader. He's been great all day on the defensive side, as it looks like he's coming out. But again, another mistake there where, you know, it's a clear, tough clear. Fodor does a good job following the long pole who's clearing the ball, and just an errant pass. Another mistake for Pingry. It seems like they're just shooting themselves in their own foot as much as Delbarton's playing a great game.
Sheridan moving right. Pass goes off the stick of Bolger, and again, that's what we were just talking about at the halftime report, Connor. This is something that you need to keep an eye on. You can't let these little mistakes happen. Fundamental lacrosse, you got to stick to those components. As Trzynski shoots just wide.
And that was unfortunate, too, because Bolger had a great shot. I think he just took his eyes off it for a second. Eyes got a little bit too wide. Wide open, that's a spot right there, lefty left. But it's okay. Good recovery there by Sheridan. You said one of the fastest guys on the team, if not the fastest. So Delbarton keeps possession.
Good. From the midfield position. And it looks like everybody on offense been playing a little bit of each position, seeing which formation works best, trying to give some of these teams in state a new look, possibly, see what works best. As you want to be your best for states, as that one rings off the crossbar, bounces all the way out to midfield, picking it up is Fodor with one hand, gets by two guys, passes, here's a shot, and here's another goal. Christian Trzynski making it a double-digit lead for the Green Wave.
And you know the cliche, third time's a charm. Trzynski's third shot of the possession, and that one was no one stopping that one.
And again, look at Brandon Fodor, Connor. I mean, he's having a great game. That's his second assist on the day, his 5th point. He leads Delbarton in that category. He's just been on fire. He's been able to facilitate. He's been able to make goals himself. He's been able to really do everything or anything the Green Wave has asked him to do on offense.
And that's why he gets such high praise from all the lacrosse websites, 5-star. Basically, I believe unanimous 5-star on every lacrosse recruiting website. He's just such a great player. He can play, you know, as a midfield position, but he can also play at that attacking position, as we've seen today, as Denegri, the other John Hopkins commit.
As he struggles with some of these ground balls, still loose. And Pingry also struggling with the ground ball, almost at Delbarton's net, and finally picked up by Summer. He had enough of that scramble.
And Summer, that's another great ground ball from him. We saw one earlier, the Air Force commit. He really does a good job at attacking that ball off the faceoffs. He is definitely one guy you want on the line when it comes faceoff time.
Holda. Cummings. Holda's got it again. Had a highlight reel goal earlier in this one as Fodor chases this one down, picks up the ground ball after taking his time.
And the midfield line with Holda and Cummings have kind of provided a spark plug today. Obviously, you're talking about the highlight goal from Holda, but also, you know, Cummings has made some really good passes when he's been on the field.
Holda has it. Now with it is McGinn, who's quick. Holda now with it. And this third quarter is flying by almost halfway through. And it's really been the possessions for the Green Wave. But again, it has looked a little bit sloppy for the Green Wave this second half, which is definitely interesting. Some missed passes, some turnovers like we just saw there. As here's a long shot, and they're not going to count it because I think we had a whistle originally.
Yeah, Ben, there was a timeout by Coach Webster before that long shot. That would have been an impressive goal. I bet you he's a little bit upset that that one didn't count, but whistle long before it, he decided to rip it, and wonder what Coach Webster's telling his team.
Yeah, and we're going to step aside, but I will say I don't think McGinty was attempting to save that one whatsoever.
And we are back here. Obviously, we saw the negated goal by Pingry, but as Ben clarified, McGinty did not seem to give maximum effort on that save. Anyways, it is 10-0 here in the third quarter. Coach Webster talked to his team, and we are back in play.
Up top with it is Finkelstein, and now with it is York. He'll pass across. Now it's Ziv. York dodging right. And now with it is Blakicki.
We've talked about how this team is pretty small and young for Pingry. It seems like the same group of guys are staying in the midfield and attack area all game. I feel like I haven't seen very much turnover. Seems like this is the Pingry core.
Yeah, and somebody that I think we both agree we haven't seen enough, who is in the game right now making some passes, Cliff Field.
Yeah, Ben, and he's a great player, obviously. Just hasn't been given the opportunity to light up the score sheet like he has done in the past. Dara Core, the senior captain, who is not out there right now, he has done a very good job manning him up during the game.
Gavin York spinning. Garcia trying to stick with him. Carter Baker was there to recover for him. And now with it is Finkelstein. Behind the net is Blakicki. Guarded by Fodor. And that's really a tough matchup as that pass goes wide. And it will be Delbarton ball. So, Connor, you take that really long possession. I don't know if you had any shot as Summers shoots off the crossbar. I mean, I don't know what's going on. There might be a magnet in that ball, Connor.
Yeah, Ben, especially on this side, it has really found the crossbar in the post a lot for both squads. But like you said earlier, slow possession again, but just not finding a good shot. Carter Baker, I want to highlight on that possession, did a great job switching and finding, the spot where he needed to defend. He was great on that possession for the Green Wave. And now we talked about Brendan Summer doing a great job on the face-offs. That was a great shot there. Unfortunately, could not find the back of the net, but Delbarton still keeping that offensive mentality we saw in the first half.
And following today's game, picking up maybe an hour or two after as that shot goes wide, Delbarton keeps possession. The winner will play the winner of the 3-6 game between Don Bosco Prep and Gill St. Bernard's. That one starts at 6:30. Sheridan. And Don Bosco is the favorite going into that matchup, but Gill St. Bernard's a team that beat Pingry earlier this season and could definitely cause some trouble for them, as Don Bosco is a talented group, but we've also seen them drop some games like the one against Bergen Catholic, but we've also seen them beat some of the top teams in the country. So it's really at any given day. And out of the top 4 seeds in this matchup, I'll say specifically, all of them are the favorites in this tournament, but what I think it's going to come down to is who wants it more. Who's going to put more grit in? Who's going to play their heart out? I think that's really what decides some of these games. It's between any teams in the playoff as well, as good try to sneak in there as it'll be Delbarton ball.
Yeah, Ben, and if Gill St. Bernard does pull off the upset, it's an interesting matchup if Delbarton holds on here, as they have a Princeton commit at face-off. We talk about how important those face-offs are for the Delbarton group. Well, if you're committed to the national champions, you got to be pretty good. So that would definitely be a good matchup if the upset does occur tonight, and Delbarton, if this game goes the way that it has been going so far.
Yeah, and looking back last year in this In the same position, Delbarton who played Don Bosco Prep in that game. If Don Bosco were to win and Delbarton holds on here, that was the game that ended Delbarton's season after a tragic 90-minute rain delay. As there's a goal from Chase Hauser.
And Fodor with the assist there. And
Make it a hat trick in both categories for him.
His 6th point, I was going to say. And the position change with Hauser and Fodor seems like a strike of genius for Coach Kovacek, as both have really been the stars of today's game.
Jesse Denegri, and at the face-off, he's 1 for 2 on the day. As he flips that one back, make it 2 for 3.
And that was smooth.
As he reaches that one, passes to Hauser. In front of the net, it's Fodor. Hauser again runs in on him, and Delbarton will slow things down.
I got a little excited for a second. Jesse Denegri, part of the wrestling team I'm on. I thought he was going to get his shining moment there, maybe try to get a shot off. But smartly, he takes his time, doesn't force a shot, and with about a minute and a half left in this third quarter, it's been all Delbarton, similar to the first half.
I mean, this is really surprising for me, Connor. I mean, I thought this was going to be a very close game. And look, we still have another 13:33 to play in this game, but throughout the first almost 3 quarters, there's a nice save by Burns. It's been completely one-sided. I mean, the fact that Pingry hasn't even gotten on the board yet is shocking to me.
And Ben, this is the Delbarton team we've saw that beat teams like Chaminade, Fairfield Prep, some of the top
St.
teams
Anthony's
in the country. This is the team that we saw in those games where the defensive and offensive production were both on point. And if they can keep playing like this, and if they stay in this form in the whole entire state tournament, I got to think they're the favorite.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be tough to beat a team like this. Gavin York with it. Switching sides. Ultimately goes to the right, now turns around and will pass back up top to Ziv. The overtime hero against Bergen Catholic in last week's game, as that one's tipped and picked up by Giordano. Now it's loose again in front of the net, and that pass goes off the head of Andrew Henson. A wacky and kind of sloppy possession, as flipping away York's stick was Carter Baker.
And Baker very physical on that defensive possession there before that yard sale, as we're going to go to the end of the third quarter.
As Hauser ripped that one from half the field, went way too high.
Baker setting the tone. Back to what we were saying, we highlighted him in an earlier defensive possession there, and getting really physical there, saying no way for Pingry's offense to get a shot off.
Yeah, dominant performance, setting the tone. That's really been the message from Delbarton today. We'll be back with the final 12. And sorry, we're back late to the action, but we're into the fourth quarter now. And Delbarton wins yet another face-off. As it was Nick Pallone there, who has been solid for the Green Wave all season. I think just above an 80% win rate.
Yeah, Ben, and the sophomore, me and him actually grabbed food after our final yesterday, and I asked him, being such a highly productive face-off guy, what gives you your edge? And he told me his diet. He got some sweet cream with me. It's all in the protein for that guy.
And he's very talented, Connor. McGinn passes down low. It's Bolger now. Minute into this fourth quarter. Every quarter so far, Delbarton's taking up the first 2 minutes with just passing around in the offensive zone. We'll see if they stick to that here, as they don't. But Brandon Fodor making it his fourth goal on the day. It's a beautiful shot from Boder.
And Ben, it's incredible how productive he has been. I mean, he has always had the skills, but it seems like today they kind of just let him off the leash a little bit. Just said, have yourself a game, and he has had himself a game.
And back in at the face-off will be Pallone. And with his face-off win to start this quarter, it made it so that every single Fogo on the roster had won a face-off. As he loses that one, and keeping it in is Finkelstein, but he can't keep possession.
We did not catch this, but a goalie change, actually. Ethan Yang is now in goal for the Green Wave. McGinty's day is over. 0 goals allowed. A very impressive showing by the junior.
Yeah, and looking back at the Paul VI game last week, as we're going to have a timeout here by Delbarton, the goalies all combined for a shutout victory. But, I mean, both Yang, who played a quarter, and McGinty, who played a quarter, I don't think had a single shot on them. They had no saves in that matchup, no goals allowed. It was Frank Zupa, the third string, who had the 3 saves. And today it's looking like we might have that same stat line, the goalies combining for a shutout today. We'll see how the next 10-15 goes, though.
And they don't call him Frank the Fortress Zupa for nothing. The guy is a wall in goal. Like we talked about in that game against Paul VI, he made some incredible saves to keep the shutout. He was the backbone, and I know that you'd be pretty excited to see him in the game. I would be pretty pumped too. Great guy, even better player.
Yeah, that's a good that's a tough comparison. Good guy, better player. I mean, definitely high standards for both, but yeah, I would be happy to see him in the game, Connor. Again, only 10-15 to play, though. Yang's first quarter of this one. Wouldn't be surprised if he stuck through it to see the end. So Delbarton on offense here. Jack Rendy, who scored 2 goals against Paul VI with speed. He wants to make it a third this playoff, and he does!
And Ben, he has been a star this playoff. Rendy really coming out there as his teammates are really pumped for him. 13-0 now, and he made it look easy. Untouched, uncovered, and that's his 3rd goal in the playoffs. As a lot of sophomores are in now, I see, Holda and Bolger also coming off the field, and that's got to be electric for all of them.
And now Jesse Denegri back in for his 4th face-off of the day. He's 2 for 3 so far. Ball pops back, and picking it up is Summer. And that strategy's been working well for Denegri, Connor.
I was going to say the same exact thing. Took the words out of my mouth. That little back scoop, as Bolger tries to save it, unfortunately could not, as he now has to come off the field.
And
Little
now
fast
there's a
break.
shot saved by Yang.
Excellent
But
save
Kiki
by
was
Yang.
trying to get Pingry on the board.
Excellent save by Yang. First action in is a fast break, one-on-one, and he wins that battle. But back to what I was saying, that a little back scoop by Denegri has been very successful today. As now we see players like Migliaccio, Randy taking the field. Exciting to see.
Tanner Van Nice as well, who gets it here from Rendy. He'll pass to Bolger. And now it's Kozik behind the net. You know, Kozik and Good, in my opinion, play a pretty similar game. They're both shifty. They've both got a great shot. They're not the biggest guy, but they've definitely got the skill that makes up for it.
Yeah, Ben, you got to think that the scouts from Lehigh and West Point that we saw today have definitely got to be very interested in some Delbarton players, as the whole team has just collectively played a great game.
As Van Nice sticks with it. And passes to Bolger. Now it's Rendy. Rendy to read Bolger. And opting out of passing to his brother behind the net, he passes to Rendy, and that shot from Hauser goes high.
We saw yesterday, last game, Paul VI took the very smart strategy of double teaming Reed Bolger. You got to think that Pingry is going to start doing the same.
It would definitely be interesting to see a brother-to-brother connection for a goal from the Bolger brothers. But both of them are on the field now, so anything's possible. Van Nice to Hauser. Hauser to Kozik. And Kozik cradling. Trying to get an edge around the net. Randy passes. Van Nice. Moving inside now, backs off. Spins. And that pass too far out of the reach of Reed Bolger.
And that's very unfortunate. He had that shot there overthrown. Hate to see that. 13-0 though. Great possession, time of possession for Delbarton, and it just seems like, you know, this game just slipped out of Pingry's hands. I mean, it wasn't really ever in their grasp.
Yeah, Delbarton set the tone early, and even looking at last year's matchup, what really helped the Green Wave was their dominant face-off group and some tough defense late in the game. Finkelstein passes to York. York handling the pressure. That was actually a number we do not have here on defense on our sorry. And there's a goal.
And unfortunate, the shutout will not be completed by the Green Wave today. But
yeah, for all those Green Wave fans.
Excellent showing nonetheless. That one snuck up on Yang. Close one after that incredible save on the fast break. 13-1 now with 5 minutes left. Still a running clock, 12-point lead, 12-goal lead. And speaking of Delbarton's, you know, rigorous schedule, Mr. Corcoran is here, and he is a Malvern Prep alum, one of the top teams that Delbarton plays, and a great guy as well.
Yep. And it's going to be a face-off win for Pingry.
And that was Denegri, who was out for the Green Wave, one of his very few losses on the day.
Yeah, 3 for 5. Ziv has it.
And Ben, if I'm not mistaken, Kane Quinault was 100% today at faceoffs. Am I right?
No, I think he missed 2. He missed 2. He was
Really?
almost perfect. He was perfect throughout, I think, until the final face-off of the half, of the first quarter. It was for a while he was perfect, but only 2 losses. Still a great day for him.
Yeah, he was very dominant on the midfield stripe today.
And that shot goes wide.
Yeah, Ben, we see this Pingry offense is starting to come to life. Not playing their slow, methodical game anymore. They're just finding an open shot and ripping it.
And that shot broken up in traffic. Yang covers it and passes to Lukanski. McLean passes to Kozak. Reed Bolger comes into the game. Kozak passes to him. And Bolger will cradle now. He passes to Migliaccio. Kozak. And now McLean behind the net.
And here comes the red-hot Rendy. Bolger looking for the shot there. And those two sophomores, part of a very strong sophomore class. We saw Holder with the incredible goal. We saw McGinn today. Haven't seen George Jig, but he's also one of the great sophomores that you'll see on this varsity roster.
Yeah, the team is very deep. Bolger holding on to it here. Gets it back from Van Nuys, and now with it is Migliaccio. In front of the net, Rendy scores his 4th goal of the playoffs, and he is having quite a 2026 playoff, Connor.
And it's incredible. He's just finding ways to get open. There's a really good cut there after Migliaccio draws a double team and wide open. He finishes. He's poised by the net, and it's great to see.
And looking forward, this is a player who can really fill the role of any of the seniors who are going to graduate. I mean, he's shown it all season, especially these last 2 games for Delbarton, and even on his club teams. These guys play some tough competition, so that's definitely something to rely on looking forward after the season ends.
Yeah, Ben, as a physical play there by Pingry, holding Lytle.
And that shot wide. Larson has it. And it's 1 minute to go here in this quarterfinal matchup. Connor, this was completely one-sided, and I think the right mentality was the players had the right mentality for the Green Wave. I talked to some of them, having an open mind heading into each matchup. And listen, Pingry played them really close last year, so coming into this one with mentality that, listen, it's not going to be an easy win whoever we play, I think that really benefited them.
Understood, Ben. And a Hall of Fame player, Pierce Weiss, is in the game. Good shot there, but Weiss was not the one who got that as he comes off the field. But, yeah, I totally agree. They really they showed Pingry that they're a different team than last year, and it's got to be really good momentum going into this semifinal matchup, which is expected to be against the team that ended their season last year.
Yeah, and whoever they play, it's going to be a really tough game as that shot goes wide. But that will do it. Delbarton stands on business at home and win 14-1 over the Big Blue. Connor, this was a tough matchup for Delbarton heading in. But listen, with the way they played, I don't think any matchup could be tough for them when they play a team like Pingry.
Yeah, Ben, they showed why they win. They've won such big games this year against such tough competition. This is the team that beats, the Fairfield Preps, the St. Anthony's that we talked about, limiting mistakes. And even when they did have mistakes, they did a good job recovering, not getting too high, not getting too low, and you could see by the scoreboard.
Yeah, and for Pingry, it was a good season. You went 16-3. This game makes it 16-4. But you played some tough competition, and you beat some tough competition. You played your game, but when you go against a team like Delbarton, who has such dominant Fogos, especially when your team on the year is sub 70%, it's going to be a really tough day for you.
Yeah, Ben, and like we talked about earlier, the face-off matchup that could be expected next week, depending on the winner of the game at 6:30, could really be an exciting matchup for the Delbarton face-offs, who have really dominated so far in these playoffs, so I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, and now looking at the other side of this non-public tournament, in this quarterfinal, 1-seeded Seton Hall Prep, they host 8-seeded Notre Dame, and then in the 4-5 matchup, it's St. Augustine hosting CBA. And look, if I'm a St. Augustine fan, I am livid. I mean, you're the #1 team in the state. You just beat Delbarton, but due to different ways that New Jersey forms these tournaments, you find yourself in the 4 seed in an unfavorable matchup in an unfavorable bracket.
Well, Ben, like you said, they are ranked the #1 team in the country, in the state. They got to prove it either way by playing the other best teams. So if they got to prove they're the #1 ranked team in the state, they got to beat Seton Hall Prep. So that's what I'm going to say about that.
And first up, they got the Colts. So we'll see how they handle CBA, the team from down south. But before that, they were able to get the wins, and today Delbarton was able to do the same.
Yeah, Ben, it was an outstanding showing by Delbarton. You can obviously see that their loss against St. Augustine hasn't hurt them too much in these playoffs. They've reset, new mindset, and I'm excited to see how they keep going in these playoffs.
It was a great game today, Connor. Delbarton with a dominant performance, 14-1 over Pingry. For Lorenzo Scully and Connor Glory, I'm Ben DeVella, and we'll see you Friday.